In the last video, we looked at how we could create a specific look for the image. It was like that high key look, the porcelain skin look. Well, we're going to do something similar in this video. A very popular look is to have an image with kind of a desaturated skin appearance. Now, when I say desaturated, I don't mean like gray, because that would be weird, but kind of like a monochromatic, edgy, stylized look. It's really popular and it's really easy to do. So let's take a look at how we can do it. What I want you to do is duplicate the background layer twice. And at this point, I would imagine you have the keyboard shortcut memorized. On a Mac, it's Command J. On the Windows side, it's Control J. You want to turn off the visibility of the topmost layer and select the middle layer. You have a couple options here. You could go into the Adjustments panel and apply a black and white adjustment and kind of control what this desaturated image looks like. But for our purposes, we're just going to come up to the Image menu, and from there, we're going to choose Adjustments, and then we're going to select Desaturate, and just give us a pretty standard black and white image. Then we're going to turn on the visibility of the topmost layer, and what we really want to do here is create an image with more contrast. And we can do that easily by using the blend modes, and more specifically, blend modes within this overlay section. We're going to select soft light in this case, and you can immediately see that we are getting that desaturated look. So his skin doesn't look gray, it doesn't look creepy, but it does look kind of edgy and more modern. The problem is it's also applied to his hair, his shirt, and the background. We really just want to isolate this effect to his skin. So the easiest way to do that, obviously, is with masking. Before we create a mask, though, what we really want to do is create a new layer, and we want really a merged version of the image. And when I say merged version, I mean if we were to flatten this image right now. We don't want to flatten the image. We just want the image to look like it was flattened. And we can do that by creating something called a new merged layer. And it's a fairly robust keyboard shortcut, so you have to pay attention here. On the Mac, it's Shift-Command-Option-E. Again, it's Shift-Command-Option-E. On the Windows side, it's Shift-Control-Alt-E. So once you do that, you create a new layer. It's a merged layer. So if we were to look at this new layer, this is what it looks like. If we were to look at these three layers underneath it, you'll notice it looks exactly the same. Now, because of that, we can actually throw away these two layers here. Now, it sounds horrible, but if you mess up this top layer so badly, it didn't take us long at all to create these two duplicates. So you'd always have that ability to do that again. But for now, we'll just go ahead and trash them. We'll get rid of them. Now what we want to do is we want to create that mask. So here with layer 2 as the active layer, you want to hold down the Option key on the Mac, Alt on Windows, and click the Add Layer Mask button. That's going to create a layer mask that's black, revealing everything on the bottommost layer. What we want to do, however, is reveal this new skin tone within the topmost layer, and we can do that by painting with the brush. You want to paint in white, obviously, so you want to make sure that white is the foreground color. Right now, for me, black is the foreground color, so I'll press X on the keyboard to swap those colors. I'm just going to come in here and paint. Now, certainly you're going to spend a lot more time doing this than what I'm about to do. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes, but on a real piece of artwork, you would spend a little bit more time changing your brush sizes and being really careful about how you're creating this mask. But as you can see, I'm not being all that careful. You don't want to go over his eyeball. I almost did there. But remember, you're creating a mask, so you can always go in and fix any problems that you create by doing that. Because this is a picture of a male, I will paint over his lips, because they don't necessarily need to be red or brighter. If it was a picture of a female, I may not do that. Again, it's really personal preference there. But you want to make sure that you do this over all of his skin. So you don't want to ignore his neck. You probably wouldn't in this case, but imagine an image where maybe it was a female model and she had her hand up or something. You would want to make sure to paint the hand so the skin tones within her hand would match her face. So you can go ahead and paint this in. And remember, you can always check your work for the mask by coming over to the Layers panel and holding down the Option key and clicking on the mask. And you can kind of see the places that you missed. Some places probably on purpose. I don't know that you need to preserve anything on his nose here. So I'll just go ahead and clean this up a little bit. All right. So that's pretty good. Hold down the Option key or Alt on Windows again and click on that thumbnail, and there we go. Now it's a little too pronounced. So of course what we're going to do is we're going to drag the opacity slider back somewhere probably in the 70% range, and you'll notice that looks really good. This is creating that desaturated modern look for the skin. And if you want, you can turn off the visibility of this topmost layer. This is the before, and this is the after. That's all there is to it. It's a really simple technique, and like I said, it's also really popular right now.